Good afternoon. You all know what's happening in Syria. There's a war, it's a civil war, it's a sectarian war, it's a war against the Islamic State. As in every war, there's great destruction. There's destruction of people's lives, of people's homes, and of people's heritage. And maybe as you know also, heritage is part of one's identity. And what we want to do is to save the Syrian population, the Syrian people's identity, and help them prepare their future. SHIRIN was founded in 2014 in Basel during the most important congress for Near East archaeology. It was attended by specialists, archaeologists, historians, anthropologists from all over the world, from Europe, of course, from America, from Australia, from Asia, and from Africa. They were all working in Syria before 2011 and want to help the Syrian people regain their heritage. Through its expertise, SHIRIN supports Syrian governmental bodies and NGOs in their efforts to preserve and conserve and safeguard the archaeological sites like Palmyra. There you go. Or the Crac de Chevalier. There you go again. And, well, what SHIRIN wants to do is respond also to the needs of our Syrian colleagues and authorities, and that regardless of their political, religious, or ethnic affiliation. We want to help everybody. SHIRIN Switzerland was formed a year later here in Bern. Its particularity is that it has members who are Syrian scholars studying in Switzerland. Those two guys behind me are part of them. And because of the Syrian neutrality, SHIRIN Switzerland has the advantage of being able to organize very, very delicate meetings between stakeholders of all kinds. It has 4 aims. You have them here on the boards. First of all, it's to inform and educate and train the Syrian colleagues with people while getting contacts with professionals here in Switzerland and also with the institutions. We want to fight against the illegal trade of antiquities. And we can do that especially here in Switzerland, since we are one of the places where most of these illegal antiquities pass, because we know the professionals work with them, the governmental bodies, and also the antique dealers. We like to help establish, if demanded by the Syrian government, and that's very, very important, a safe haven. I don't know if you know what a safe haven is by Swiss law, but it's a place to store and exhibit the Syrian goods, cultural goods during the time of war. That's what we do with the Afghani cultural goods. And of course, we want to encourage networking and information for the local Syrian population through social media. But who am I to talk? My Syrian colleagues can speak better of their experience. So please, Mohamad, tell us more.
Okay. As Cynthia said, there's a war in Syria. And besides the human disaster, the cultural heritage is one of the victims of the Syrian war. Unfortunately, the destruction of the ancient monuments and the illegal excavation reach a very high level. And that's why I was working in Syria for 4 years during this conflict at the National Museum of Aleppo. And I know very well how much the damage and the destruction of our monuments and how many restoration and reconstruction experts we need in the whole of Syria. We did many protection efforts at the National Museum of Aleppo during our work. Of course, we faced many difficulties, but the worst was not enough qualified person. We were like abandoned from all the international archaeological community. This is why our first step in sharing strategy is to train more qualified person, specialists, to be active and to participate in the post-conflict reconstruction. And we organized a program for a Syrian student or Syrian archaeologist from all sides in restoration and reconstruction in the archaeological excavation of University of Bern in Turkey under direction of Professor Merkonovac. But unfortunately, the current political situation in the country impeded this project. And now we are trying through our contact with a different Swiss institution of archaeology to train more Syrian archaeologists or more Syrian students. And we have a very good example. We have already an example for a Syrian archaeology student with a refugee states working in Risco excavation in the Canton of Aragao. I mean, also, in the same time, there's many international archaeological institutions offer some scholarship for the Syrians or Syrian archaeologists, like the German Archaeological Institute in Istanbul, which has offered 5 scholarships. And we are looking for that Swiss also can also offer some scholarship for the Syrian archaeologists. I mean, the conservation of the Syrian culture heritage, it's very important for us, as it's like our dignity and our culture identity. Not only for us, but for the future generation as a part from the human culture heritage. I mean, for the human culture heritage. And you can see what we did in Aleppo National Museum without an experience. And now, our goal, I mean, this is why SHIRIN Swiss is very important for us. I mean, to help this archaeologist or the local community in Syria to preservation and reconstruction them culture heritage. And we will do our best to achieve these goals. And now maybe Mohamed have more to speak about sharing.
Okay, I'm going to speak about the second act of our strategy of SHIRIN is networking. As a non-official organization, SHIRIN could play the role of mediator between the different archaeological institution and university and with the official archaeological institution in Syria. And to make a network between the different archaeologists around the world with the Syrian archaeologists inside Syria. I would like to mention 2 reasons of why networking is important for all of us. The first aspect is the benefit of a dialogue between Syrian and Syrian, where in the last workshop, Strategy of Construction, organized by SHIRIN in the University of Bern, officials from the Syrian Archaeological Authority and from the opposition were sitting together discussing about the damage and the emergency of the destruction and formulating plans for the post-conflict phase. And that's really important for all of us Syrian, and proudly we can say that it was a unique place where this person from both sides were sitting together. The second aspect is giving visibility for the person who's still working in Syria in the preservation of archaeological site and museum. Now maybe you ask, are there anyone still working in Syria? Yes, there are. The Monuments Men, really, exactly like George Clooney team. They were working in the different archaeological department before the war, and after the rebels took the control of their area, they organized this group and they started to do some efforts and restoration for the archaeological sites and the museum. And here you see some of their work in the Ma'arat al-Naman Museum, the Mosaic Museum, one of the important museums of Syria, and also in the archaeological site of Ebla. It's so important site of Ebla. One of them came here to Switzerland in the few months ago to speak about their work. We asked him, why you stopped doing this work? His answer was, okay, we worked for 1 year in miserable conditions, and despite that, we were able to do many things. During this year, we did not receive any help, and no one contacted us to offer help. We will not stop. Our project and team will continue, and now we need more experience and help. And in SHIRIN, we want to help and train these persons. We want to give them the visibility in the international community, in the Western archaeological international community. Last aspect of the importance of creating such network between the scholars and institutions from all over the world is enhancing the idea that the cultural heritage in Syria is belong to all of us. Preserving it, it's important not only to preserve the cultural identity of Syrians, but to take our responsibility on front of the future generation and to be an example for those who will study and work in this field. Thank you.
Thank you very much.